Shortwars Season 2 has been a wild ride, with all the clones returning, the original creators getting kidnapped again, new people, new pins, new secrets, and lastly, the boss returning as the main antagonist. So what are we waiting for? Let's catch up to the other creators and let's discuss Shortwars Season 2. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitter if you want more videos like this one. It will greatly help me a lot. Shortwars Season 2 officially started on December 2nd, but before that there was a lot of build-up and hype before the season even started. So let's talk about each character arc and their clone counterparts. Dano and Riggy, the iconic duo who's been through a lot this season. Dano was one of the few people last season who wasn't cloned, but Riggy was, thus creating Clone Riggy. To catch everyone up, Clone Riggy was thought to have been defeated last season by Riggy after an amazing final fight, but he teleported last second, presumed to be dead. Till the next season, there's been a ton of hints of Clone Riggy's eventual return, with the glitch happening, text, and even his own theme song. But when the season officially started, he finally made his fateful return. Upon returning, Clone Riggy knocked out Riggy with an anvil, giving him a concussion, forcing Dano to send him to the hospital. Without his mascot, then he had to improvise and try doing shorts by himself and even got his girlfriend Rosie to help him. But it just didn't feel the same. Also, Dano realized that Riggy wasn't really doing his job and checking on any imperfection on his shorts and overlooked Clone Riggy returning, so he wasn't very pleased about that. After a few days, Riggy returned, but when Dano returned, he was suspicious about a few things, so he went to look for evidence and stumbled upon a few things that C.com, more on him later, and Johnny could be working for the boss, so he confronts him, but both of them denied everything and went off to do his own research. Feeling betrayed, Dano was paranoid about everyone, but tried to see and best in everyone. It wasn't after an Among Us stream to test everyone's lying skills to go on an adventure. After the stream, we hear him on a phone call with potentially royal pair to go on an adventure to look for something. Then he goes off on his own, leaving Riggy behind. Before we finish this Dano's arc, we need to talk about Clone Riggy's new name. While all the investigating was happening, Clone Riggy was trying to get a new identity for himself because he wanted something to be separate from Riggy, and people called him Pasta Man throughout the community, so he wasn't happy about it. But at the end of Failure Stream, we see that he takes his name, and it was Preston. So for the remainder of this video, Clone Riggy will be referred to as Preston. As Dano went on with Royal Pair, they found the boss's control room, and as they explored the area, Dano was sucked into the clone machine, while Royal Pair also gets sucked into the computer. The machine made Jano, or Bano, or whatever his name was, an emo ripoff, and took control of his channel. Ricky caught on that Dano was a clone, but Jano, as a last resort, knocked him out and buried him. In the meantime, Jano and Preston was a new duo for the channel. After the two took over the channel, they just made shorts for a bit. Eventually, Preston got fed up with Riggy having a concussion and brought back Dano to clone Dano with him, leaving the duo alone in control of their channel again. Dano wants nothing to do with Shortwars after this, but eventually, he will be brought back for the final court case against the boss. Around the end of the war, everyone came together to find the boss's final control room to destroy it. As they're making their escape, Clone Riggy tries to stop them, but is taking care of Failure, Royal Pear, and Melon, and then he retreats for the court case, while BD tries to make a final stance, where he miserably died by Johnny's pew pew, putting an end to Clone Dano, making a lot of fans sad, but good riddance in my book, emo looking Bam! One of the new contenders for Shortwars, but instead of being on the creator's side, he's been working for the boss, being one of his new lackeys. He made a deal with him and got hired out of Wendy's. Other than doing a few streams, Bam hasn't done a lot for this season, but they're a cool person with a cool model, and can't wait to see what they have in store in the future. Joe Kane, everyone's favorite short speedrunner, and the savior of Season 1, has unfortunately failed to being cloned. If you remember last season, Joe didn't accept the Gloam VPN sponsorship because he would only accept Genshin and sponsorships. And this season, when he was in a collab with Bundan, they both accepted a Genshin sponsorship, and from there, they were both cloned. And here we're introduced to Joe Kane's clone, which I don't think I can say the name of without getting him demonetized. During this time, Joe was stuck in a nightmare because of his clone, but he eventually woke up and used the power of speedrunning to take out his clone. And he also speedrun to become a lawyer to beat the boss in court. Alongside Joe, he was cloned when he accepted the fake Genshin sponsorship. But when he was cloned, Dunbun returned, and it seemed like he wanted to try shorts and actually make good stuff, while having Bundun still tied up and locked up in the void. We see the return of his clone. Originally, Dunbun wanted to outshine Bundun, but he became good friends with him, and was happy to just have him around. What started off as a villain became more as someone who changed his ways and become friends. Eventually, Bundun escapes the void, leaving Dunbun alone, essentially being the end of him. Another fan favorite. Last season, Clone Royal Pair was one of the few clones to gain sentience and wanted to break from the boss's control. He felt empathy and compassion. After last season, Royal Melon was presumed to be dead after he sacrificed himself to destroy the Clone VPN facility. And people went to his funeral and everyone was sad. But that's what we thought. This would smell hints that Royal Melon was alive, but it wouldn't be till many months later after we see that none other than C.com saves Royal Melon and puts him in a Pokeball. Where's Royal Pear himself? Well, when he went on with a trip with Dano, he ended up in the boss's control room and he was about to stream the boss's amazing computer specs when he got sucked into the machine and he joined into the world of and had to get out of there with Joe Kane and Royal Pronto. Red Jet, Dacia, and Mello was all called by the boss up and discovered a weak link on his team. 2 out of the 3 accepted, with Dacia wanting to do nothing with the boss, but the others will act as double agents. Dacia lost trust in the other 2, while the other 2 will continue to help the boss to get information. C.com, one of the newest workers for the boss and the most important person of the war for this season. Originally, Breen presumed a loyal worker for the boss with doing a lot of his bidding without questioning and buying over $6,000 worth of Wendy's. Yes, I did the math, go watch the short. It always seemed like he had other plans than being loyal to the boss. The boss has been trying to look for a weak link of his team because someone's been releasing and leaking information. During this time, we get a flashback to July 2023 where we see the destruction of the clone VPN facility back in season 1. We see him as a facility as he gets files and extracts everything before it explodes. After the explosion, we see him save a dead character. Fast forward, the boss confronts C.com and finds out he's been the weak link of his team and proceeds to hunt him down. With that, C.com gets his friend Frederick to help him find the Truth Cinder, a sword to help fight against the boss. After a bit, he finds it, but he's confronted by one of the boss's lackeys. And after an intense fight, we learn that C.Dot was cloned. After that, C.Dot calls everyone to help into the boss's facility to shut it down and destroy it once and for all. He was the one to delete the files to make a blow up from inside, finally putting an end to his former employer's work. Failure this season has been posting really cool videos about Shortwars like Viscer's, Clone, Ricky, and more. Some of his streams and shorts links us to important videos, but he specifically didn't do much this season other than giving Clone Ricky his new name. Maybe I overlooked some things, I don't know. Mog Swamp was originally in season 1, but stopped making content because he listened to the boss because it was threatening him. Now in season 2, he hated how the boss was bullying him and made the Resistance a team to fight against the boss, but this boss was steps ahead and knew of his plan. So he sent his clones and armies to destroy his 10-year-old super flat world, forcing Moxum to flee and go into hiding. He managed to get his world back, but he had a backup plan, and it was the court case against the boss, which is to win against him in a lawsuit for him to end his cloning reign. Royal Pronto. Royal Pronto was just blown up when he was in the world of Weasel and is in purgatory. That's it. That's his whole character arc. Finally, Johnny and the boss. Johnny, Razor, and the boss, the 2 most important characters of the series. After Johnny took out his clone, he was free from his grasp, thinking he was finally done with the scrap. But sadly, the boss was alive. In season 2, the boss did a lot of Sigma posts, threats, and apology videos, but especially a lot of planning. The boss has been calculated on everything, but deep down, he's been trapped in a nightmare. The boss was created by a Dr. Dave Francis, but we wouldn't know much about the boss's true identity after C.com left a way for Johnny to contact him. After a confrontation Johnny had with the boss on his stream, the boss finally revealed himself to be the one and only Johnny's long-lost brother, who was separated at birth by Dr. Francis Dave, a man who wanted to clone people to perfection, a man who wanted to take over the world, a man who caused a lot of pain. The boss and Johnny would finally meet and went on a road trip, hike, and play a game of Uno. Johnny tries to save the boss as he refuses to be safe. He tries to convince him that he can be free. He doesn't need to deal with this Dave Francis anymore. But the boss believes he is forever haunted and cursed by the world. That's when he finds out about the lawsuit. The boss is upset and kicks Johnny, now preparing for the lawsuit. And with that, it concludes Shortwars Season 2. The lawsuit video will happen, but it will be way shorter than this one, and I'll be making new original content. Shortwars has been an amazing time for me and has helped me gain and meet a lot of new people, and I hope eventually I can talk to some of these creators, because I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't too proud of the shorts I was making. It felt like it didn't have the quality I wanted it to be, so if I ever do come back to Shortwars, it's gonna be higher quality, higher stuff. I'm now doing a new format, so I'm excited for that. Dacia, Red Jet, and Mellow Productions, these guys have been carrying the whole theorist community, and I am happy to see them grow. Same for the creators themselves. They have made this a marvelous experience, and I'm very happy for Shortwars Season 3 to potentially happen. Or if Shortwars Season 2 is the end, then it's been amazing. Subscribe everybody, and I'll see you next time.